Welcome to the TFO podcast, where guests get to give their thoughts, feelings, and opinions on a variety of subjects. This podcast is hosted by your very own Stacy Cook, and as always, sponsored by Fool's Guide Life Coaching. Follow me on all social media platforms. So give it up for our guest today. Yeah. When did you realize your leadership style? And for you and I, when we take these personality quizzes,
we're like the squiggle woos, whatever. Yeah, we're like twins.
We are twins when it comes to our personality. So
we're personality twins. That's exactly
no
right.
doubt. So when did you realize that was a thing? Like, and then what were you able to do with it once you figured it out?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to go back. So I want to say it's probably been 15 years ago. I think I took my very first break all the rules like strengths finder test, and it came back out that I was pegged out on WHOOOOO, which is win others over, and that my natural tendencies were to build relationships with other people and talk to other people, and I want to know what makes them happy and what makes them sad, and which is really funny. And if you ever talk to John Willows, he'll tell you, because he went to school with me, is up until probably midway through college, I was very, very shy. I would not talk to anyone. Right? Very, very quiet, very, very shy. And that has obviously changed over time. But
that's a book title. Turn your won't into a woo.
There you go. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You should. Yeah. You need to write these down. Yeah. And then, so I think as I started to get into it, I think what I kind of a self-realization is, being an engineer, I know, and I mean, we're around them all the time, is I'm around I've worked around some really smart people.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Like brain power level stuff that is like I was talking to Bart Roos. I don't know if you've met Bart, but he's an engineer, or he's actually a PhD chemist from Antwerp. And they were talking about stuff that was like, and I'm not joking, but they were talking, it's like Nobel Prize level chemistry stuff. It's just amazing. Like, it's like but I think early on about that time, as I realized, okay, it's like I got through engineering school, I have reasonably good grades, but I am not naturally gifted technically.
Yes, yeah, I can go with that.
There are people, like if you look at naturally gifted at singing or basketball or math or music or whatever it is, computers, whatever. I'm not. I can understand it, but no matter how hard I try, I will never be gifted in that. And the thing is that I think when I took the strength finder piece, is that I realized it kind of gave me permission to not have to be the best.
I couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah, it's like, okay, internally I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't have to try to compare myself with, and there's I could list off 10 people that, I was in a conversation with 3 guys the other day. We had some visits in, and they were all, and I was like, by an order of 3 or 4 magnitudes, easily the dumbest guy in that group of folks, because they were talking about just like multi-order reaction kinetic stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. And the one guy's like, yeah, they didn't have equations for what we were trying to measure, so I just derived them all myself. And he started writing them on a napkin. I'm like, okay, but for me, is what I learned when I did that strengths finder, is that my job is not to be that. My job is to try to put those people in the right places and allow them to do what they do well, keep them motivated, keep them feeling like they're rewarded, give them the resources they need, try to get, barriers out of their way, and then allow them to take the glory for doing what they do. Because it doesn't, and I have now made a career out of that, of allowing others to be who they are, because
which is a good thing,
it's
right?
Not a bad thing, right? Thing. Because I look at it like, if you wanted me to run some of the, certain technical sides of things, it would be not good, right? But on the flip side, some of the technical people that we have, you don't want them to necessarily try and be getting groups of people working
Probably
together
not.
either, right? So I think that's where I look at, early on, that was kind of an early, realization for me on saying, okay, I can be who I am and be successful, and, I can allow others to be who they are and without clouding the, the need for me to have my ego take over and waste a bunch of my time trying to understand some stuff that I'm never gonna get.
And I think you and I, there's a small number of us in the place that we work, which is to me the right mix. If you have too many people trying to get too few people to put them in the right spot, you got a whole bunch of people moving people around, but not a lot of things happening. So for us, like, I feel like I'm the interpreter. We got this guy that knows all this, and I got this guy that needs to do what he's asking. Somebody's got to translate that for this person so that they can.
And that's where it's like baking a cake or whatever, is that you don't really need a lot of certain seasonings, but if you don't have them, you can really tell, right? It's like, oh, this did not turn out good. And I think, like for you, if you look at just being I call them like spark plug type roles, is that without an ignition source, all of that potential and all these other things won't go very far. Right. And that's kind of what I see in you and others, is that, and I think, to some degree myself, is that without that, the car never starts without that.
Yeah, for sure.
If that makes sense.
No, I think it makes perfect sense. So how far ahead do you look?
Remember when we were first doing one of our recent projects, he was like, okay, Brian, you are like way down there and we're here, right? And I use down there as opposed to up here or down there, because it isn't good or bad, or above or below, or, one way or another. It is just, I probably minimum on the daily basis, it's gonna sound funny because I'm gonna use one time period to describe another, but on a daily basis, I would say I'm a minimum of 3 months out, and as far out as 3 to 5 years, probably. That's when I look. And so whether it's mentoring or if we have a visit, so we have some visits coming up, it's like, the big thing is, because we get wound around the axle sometimes on the details, right? It's like, oh, what should this font be, or what should this, what should my message be, or how do I put this chart together, or something like that. And I'm like, what do you want out of it? Or if you're mentoring, you're talking about like, oh, what role should I take next? I don't know, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to be in leadership? And a lot of people are, I want to be in leadership. I'm like, why do you want to be in leadership? And you'd be surprised, as a lot of people, that's a showstopper question, right? Because
they don't know, they just want to progress.
Yeah, because it's the next logical step. I'm like, well, some parts of leadership are good. I really enjoy them. Some parts of them are really, really not a lot of fun. Yeah. I mean, like, really not a lot of fun. I have a lot of pride in, a lot of the interactions that I've had, whether it's, my volunteering. I'm a very prideful person, I should say. That's a fault, one of my many. But I would say that you want those things to continue, right? And so if we don't mentor the next generation, I was so big Nebraska football fan. We did not mentor the next generation. In about 2001, the wheels came off, and it's been a bad 20 years. And you can see organizationally how, I say we, I didn't do it. I'm not even a donor, so
that's okay.
From afar, I say we, right? From a fan's perspective, right? Yeah. But I think if you look, those types of decisions, if you do not spend the time to mentor and build culture early on, that's what will happen. You'll go, all the good things that the teams and whatever team you're in, if you don't mentor the next generation, is you're setting yourself up for long-term failure. Because I think the other just little bit of that too is that I think over the years is I have in times past, one of the things that I didn't do very well early on in mentoring is that I thought mentoring meant, well, I'm gonna make you like me, which like we
Would
talked
have
about.
helped for me. I don't know if some of these other folks it would not.
Yeah, you and I probably would have been fine, but I mean, I think that,
Yeah.
you know, what I look at is if you really look long-term of, like you said, you don't want too many Stacys and Brians, because if it's
No.
too many Stacys and Brians, then the details don't get executed as
Right.
at such a high level. You want to mentor people to be the best that can be. Don't be the next. I heard a thing. I said, "Oh, who was it? This guy?" I said, "Well, you could be the next LeBron James." And it's like, no, don't be the next LeBron James. Be the next. I think it was Luka Doncic. I can't remember. Anyway, whoever it was like, no, be the next you.
Right.
Just learn what LeBron has brought and what he does well, but take those things and be you. And I am not equating myself to being LeBron James by any means.
But why?
But for so many reasons. But you know, I think if you look at mentoring, it is important to, and I drive people nuts because they're like, you always answer my questions with questions. I'm like, well, because I'm trying to find out what is important for you. And then the thing is, if you really get down to it and you love technical stuff, then be technical. If you love being with other people, be with other people. Just because you have the leader name or the leader title or whatever doesn't mean that you're any more or less worthy or valuable or anything like that. And money is a terrible motivator.
I agree.
It is a horrible motivator. People are like, oh, I think, you know, you get paid this, you get paid that. Like, look, if I got paid that much, I'd be retired or whatever, but I'm not, right? I think you and I have talked about in the past, of how much do you really need? It is not a motivator. So you really want to, if you're gonna, in my view, if you're going to mentor, you know, it is about, ultimately, I think people want to be happy.
They do.
They want to be happy in their home, they want to be happy in their personal life, they want to feel safe, and they want to feel valued. And you know what? If you are you, but if an individual has absolutely terrible people skills, you will not find leadership rewarding.
Yeah. It will be bad deal.
Oh, it is.
It's a bad deal.
So to me, like, it's not like it's perfect, but I think the thing is, how do you, as a mentor, how do you find what's really, it's like a sculptor, if you will, without getting too esoteric, there's your word of the day.
Okay.
Is it's there already.